So Microsoft released the Surface Pro 9 and the Surface Pro 9 5G. Both of them are almost identical when you look at them from the outside, but essentially they're small 13-inch laptops that provide you the opportunity to use a tablet, a Surface experience with the kickstand and all the functionalities that you're used to seeing there. And the Pro 9 5G actually utilizes the SQ3 architecture, which essentially is a Snapdragon 8cx, so Windows on ARM. That's the Gen 3 8cx from Qualcomm. So one of the biggest things I wanted to do is use this, travel with it, use it at home, use it outdoors, and I wanted to share with you guys my experience after using it for the last 3 months. So this is my review of the Microsoft Surface Pro 9 5G SQ3 or 8cx Gen 3 from Qualcomm. Let's check it out. Like and subscribe and make sure you hit that bell icon so you're always notified to whenever we have new videos on the channel. I will say thank you very much to Microsoft for providing me these 2 units on a loan to be able to review and of course share with you guys my experience. I've had them for 3 months and this essentially is the Microsoft Surface Pro 9 5G. Aesthetically, honestly, it's hard to tell which one is the 5G and the non-5G, but I will show you guys exactly where's the big difference there. This is the Surface Pro 9 keyboard that comes, well, not with it, you do need to pick that up separately. It does come with the Magic Pen 2, that's the new iteration of the Magic Pen from Microsoft. I'll let it focus real quick. A very nice textured material and a very ingenious way on hiding the S Pen. So it's no longer magnetically clamped to the actual surface as we've seen it in the previous generations. Now it's actually sitting inside of the keyboard. And of course, it comes with the keyboard. So today we are going to talk about both of them. First and foremost, the box itself just pretty much gives you the Surface Pro 9. There's nothing really much to assemble. So what I would probably say is here, so this is the hardware itself, the display. This is basically the 13-inch display. This is an LCD display and it is running at 2880. Let's go ahead and turn it on. Now, one thing you'll notice is we do have Windows Hello supported at the top here. We have a camera, obviously the display, 13 inches, very nice and very good touch responsiveness. And then the last thing, they do include a charging brick in the box itself, of course, some reading materials, and that's pretty much it. Not much really else to do. Everything is pre-assembled and ready to use. All you have to do is turn it on and set up your account. Now, when it comes down to the keyboard, it also comes pretty much pre-assembled. There's not really much we need to do here. It does have the nice offsets here that we're going to be using to be able to connect to the bottom of the actual surface. I'll let it focus. Nice travel on the keyboard, very clean fabric material on the front as well as on the back, so it feels very nice and actually feels a little bit more premium than what we've seen before. You still have nice touchpad configuration here, very nice, and of course really good travel on the keyboard. Last but not least, of course, is the new Pen 2. Now this one does come and it does actually charge directly in the cradle, pulling power straight from the laptop. So it's very nice over there, and then when you're not using it, you just keep it over there. Now, the one thing I will say is if you're using the Surface, here's the 2 magnetic clamps in there. You just connect them at this point. And one of the really ingenious ways they did this here is they basically put it like that. So when you're using it and you don't need the keyboard, and of course Windows Hello just unlocks for me, you can use it this way. And if you need the pen, you just pop it open. You don't need it, you put it away, and then you're pretty much set. And of course, when you're done, just close it. Everything kind of stays the same, and it looks really nice. It does have a little bit of an offset here, kind of like a little bit of a raised back to give you a little bit of a height. Now, on the left side, we have 2 USB-C ports. Now, these are going to be USB 3.1 ports. There's no Thunderbolt. The Intel model does have the Thunderbolt connection. One of the other things you'll notice in here is we do have those antenna bands to be able to get that 5G connectivity. There is obviously the kickstand. This is something that is known for Microsoft Surfaces, and it is very nice. And you're able to extend it all the way down to the back. So essentially, you get that nice configuration, nice little lift in the back, really rad. And of course, you want to set it up, it works great. You want to set it up straight up like this, it works just the same. And we're going to talk a little bit about here in the back. It's one of the really nice things that they did. We don't have a micro SD card compatibility on this system, but we do have this little port, this little hidden port sitting on the side. Now, this port is going to give us access to be able to put in our SIM card. This is an unlocked system, so you're able to install either an eSIM or a physical SIM. As long as you have the ability of getting services on it, you're pretty much set. You just plug it in and connect to whichever system you want. Now, the other thing that I really like about it is we also have the ability of changing the hard drive, or essentially just swapping it up, either going higher or lower by just easily removing it and putting it on. So it makes this very, very nice and very accessible. And you can see right there, I have my SIM card still present in there. When you're done with this, you can basically just close it in, and it does actually have a very nice nice little flush experience, and this is why you need a SIM removal tool to pop it up. Otherwise, it's pretty good. And then when you're not using it, it hides right under the Surface back. You'll never know it's there. Now on the right side, we have a connector option here. This is going to be the proprietary Surface connector, so pretty standard to what we've seen in the past. I will say though, you're able to charge this using USB-C connection, which is pretty much how I've been charging it since I've had it. Now at the top, you'll notice there's a couple of openings here back in the back of the grill. We have the volume rocker as well as the power button and a few other the antennas in here. Again, this does support 5G, so it needed quite a few antennas, and that's one of the biggest visual differences between the standard Pro 9 and the Pro 9 5G is those antenna bands. The standard Pro 9 does not have wireless connectivity other than Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Here we have 5G, so we need the antenna bands. Now on the back, we have a 10 megapixel camera, and of course we do have another married camera inside here that's going to be a 5 megapixel with Windows Hello, so it's looking for me. I'm just going to go ahead and show it my face, and you can see right there the display looks absolutely fantastic. So from that, I'm going to go ahead and remove the keyboard very simply, and we're going to be using the pen. So this is very good. Now as far as connectivity, as I mentioned to you guys, we do have Wi-Fi connectivity, we also have Bluetooth connectivity, we also have, of course, 5G. Now at home in here, it's showing 4G LTE, but for me, I'll show you guys a few other clips as well. You're able to connect to it and configure it, and as I mentioned to you guys, you're able to use it, oh, there it is, it picked up 5G. You're able to use it either on a SIM card or an eSIM, so you don't actually need a physical SIM to set this up. Once you have this set up, it's pretty much straightforward. You can connect to either one of these connectivities, and of course, if I turn off the Wi-Fi by just clicking on it right there, I'll go ahead and give it a second, it shuts off, and then it becomes my internet connection is running directly, and you'll notice the bar at the bottom showing us the connectivity speed. And if I'm, of course, when I go back home, turn it on and it'll jump over and it will override whatever as far as connectivity. So Wi-Fi will always be first, and of course everything else kind of goes in. Now the really nice thing about this is that this actually supports touch input. So if you want to use this as a tablet, let's go ahead and put the pen down. You want to be able to use it as a tablet, you want to be able to use it vertically or horizontally. It'll work exactly the way you want it. You can customize it, you can turn on the browsing experience. Let's go ahead and turn it on, turn on the browser. And I'm actually able to use it entirely without even needing the pen, but the pen does provide us a few additional things. So let's go ahead and jump over into Twitter. And one of the biggest things that we have the ability is obviously sketching using the configuration. And one of the other things that I really love about it is the ability of actually having the touch configuration. You'll notice how how accurate it is. I'm using my finger and I'm actually moving it, and you notice that it just follows my finger exactly where it is. If I want to be able to basically, let's say, close this, but I want to actually see the new configuration in here, I can actually see all the different options of how I can set up the configuration in here. So I can set it up, put it in there, set up the second one, and now we have split screen running directly on our display, and it works very, very nicely. If I want to be able to convert it into the other format, put it again, it keeps the configuration running, and everything is pretty much set and easy to go. So that's one of the big things I love about it. You're not going to be disappointed with that functionality. Battery life is roughly about 10 to 11 hours from basically with mixed usage with Wi-Fi and 5G connectivity. I will say that I did not know that I was going to enjoy using a 5G connected tablet or PC till I started using it here. So that's one of the big things that we have in here. And of course, one of the other things that I will probably say is the functional options as far as Microsoft. Now, because this is running Windows on ARM, there are going to be some limitations, some apps that are going to run in emulation. But that's going to be something to keep in mind. This laptop, for all intents and purposes, isn't really going to replace a full-fledged Intel laptop. This is really trying to fit a person's needs on the go with the capabilities of Microsoft services, applications that are present directly within the Microsoft Store. You're able to install them, customize them. Anything that you're able to see in the Microsoft Store will run, and it will run well on this laptop. Battery life is also kind of supported with that effect. As I mentioned to you guys, we're able to basically go in there, charge it by either USB-C or using directly the connection, the Microsoft charger that we have included in the box. And of course, we have the ability of installing different applications. So let's go ahead and swipe up, bring everything down. And of course, you can see here, I have a few things set up. I do have Dex also installed, which is one of my favorite softwares to install. And one of the reasons why I like using Dex on this is not because essentially that, I'm trying to override the system, but essentially is I'm able to use my keyboard and mouse, or the keyboard and mouse that comes directly with the Surface Pro. And what I have in this experience now is a full-fledged keyboard and mouse configuration with touch control, and I'm able to run multiple systems. So I'm charging my device from the battery that's built into the SQ3 or into the Pro 9 5G. And I'm also able to use a full-fledged version of Dex. So I can run LumaFusion on my phone, edit my content straight off my phone, not have to worry about connectivity, not have to worry about transferring data. Everything runs straight off my phone, and I can get it running perfectly on here. The other thing that I really love doing about this, obviously, is the ability of kind of leveraging the mobile connectivity. If I want to be able to tether my device, let's say I don't have a mobile plan on this, it was working great with my Samsung device. I plugged it in, I was able to run my connection, and everything ran from there. The other thing I will probably say that really was one of my biggest things is running games directly using, let's say, something like Xbox, Xbox Game Pass. So Xbox Game Pass runs beautifully on this, and it runs so nice that it really feels very good on the go. As long as you have an Xbox controller, you're going to be able to enjoy playing games like Forza or even some of the other more action-based or first-person shooters type of games. As long as they're able to run directly on the cloud using Xbox Game Pass, it was running really good. Now, one of the unique features that we have here on the SQ3 model that we don't have on the Pro 9 standard model, I'm going to go ahead and start a video here. Big focus on the front-facing camera experience for video conferencing, and which means essentially we're using a 1080p 30 frames per second resolution camera, but it actually has much more functionalities than that. Let's say I want to be able to go in there and change a few different things. Let's say I want to basically blur the background. There's a quick blur in the background, very easy. We can do portrait blur, which is not as strong, but definitely very focused. And you can definitely see me. I mean, I'm actually sitting here in front of you guys in the video, and it looks really good. I'll go ahead and turn that off. I'll go ahead and also turn on this feature. So right now, I'm actually looking straight at the bottom of the keyboard, and I want to show something to you guys here. You can definitely see a very subtle movement. It's hard to tell, but essentially what it's doing is trying to make sure that even though I'm not looking at this camera itself, I'm looking at the screen, it's going to actually try to leverage that and put my eyes into the camera. Now, the other thing I also loved about that is something called the automatic framing capability. I'm going to give it a second to kick in because typically it doesn't kick in right away. Here it is. It's working. It needed me to go back a little bit. So what you're seeing here essentially is automatic framing, meaning if I actually move a little bit to the left, the camera is going to try to keep me in focus. It's going to shift the camera experience to the left. If I go back into center, it's going to go ahead and bring me back in. If I go a little bit more to the right, it's also going to do the same thing. But what it does essentially there, it's punching in a little bit into the actual frame and allowing extra room on both sides, right and left, and gives us the ability of seeing that. So that's one of the biggest things in there. And of course, one of the other things you probably didn't notice is the quality of the audio that we have in here. So that's also one of the big things in here. Okay, now the next thing I do want to share with you guys is the quality of the audio recording and the ability of noise isolation. This is something that is crazy good. And I'm actually going to share that with you guys by playing some basically loud music here. So actually not music. I'm going to be playing basically city traffic white noise playing here in the background. And I'm actually going to go ahead and start recording a clip, and I want to show you guys how it sounds. So we're going to listen to it exactly how I'm recording it, and then we're going to listen to it when it plays back. So I'll start the sound. So you can definitely hear it. This is not going to go away in any shape, way, or form. We'll go ahead and start recording a quick, okay. So now what we're doing essentially is I'm going to do a quick audio recording showcasing the technology that we have in here in the audio or in the noise cancellation from surrounding sound. The sound is still present there as we're recording it right now and you're listening to it. So we're going to go ahead and stop and listen to the audio play back. This is crazy. The way this is able to isolate my sound with all of that noise around me is crazy. Now, the way they demoed it for me back when we first saw this device being launched is they had a hairdryer sitting in the background. And I would not, I mean, seriously, I was very surprised on how this technology works so well. So from a mobile connectivity, and I think this is really where this device is set up for, this actually does the job very well. The full access to the Microsoft suite of applications, so PowerPoint, Excel, all of those things will work really nice. Chrome and almost anything that runs inside of Chrome will run perfectly on here. There's also no issues there. Now, I was able to run, obviously, Xbox Game Pass, NVIDIA GeForce. Those are essentially streaming services that, as long as you have a strong enough of an internet connection, you're going to be able to enjoy gaming on this. My buddy Juan Carlos did do some more gaming on the device. You're able to run certain apps that will run. I will say Steam does install, and I think to a certain point you're able to install certain applications, but not everything works at 100%. Again, this is a Windows on ARM. This is trying to give you connectivity and functionality on the go. And that's the emphasis here. If you look at this and you compare it to the way the Surface Pro 9 is really coming out, you're really comparing them in slightly different experiences. The Pro 9 is really traditional Intel-based Windows operating, basically x86, a 64-bit operating system. Everything runs the way you want it to run. The difference here with the Pro 9 5G is that this is really meant to be on the go. I can take this and go to the park, sit there and do my work while my son's doing his thing. I can go take it with me, go to the coffee shop and work and do work with there. One of the other things that was really epic and for me just came in a clinch for me is I was actually traveling to the Qualcomm Tech Summit and I had my Surface Pro 9 5G and I got an email from work and I needed to take care of something right away. Now, Two things. A, if you were running on a laptop, you needed to boot it up and wait and get into it and then find a Wi-Fi, connect to it and do a whole bunch of different things. I was standing in line, we were boarding, and I turned up and I just opened it up, connected to 5G and started to do my work, logged in directly with my credentials. Everything worked exactly the way I wanted to run, and it ran as smoothly as you'd expect it. I think this is where this becomes very functional. So what I'm trying to say essentially is after 3 months and traveling with this for 4 different trips and using this at CES, using it in Maui, using it in Sonoma, and even going with it internationally, this type of laptop is really meant for those type of functionalities. This is not a powerhouse. This is not going to be an editing rig. This is not going to try to replace your full-fledged, creator or gaming laptop. This is really trying to fit it in between into the configuration of when you need surface type of experience, long battery life, small form factor, and ease of use and quick access to it. Because I was able to connect to the 5G and do my work, I was able to finish what I needed to do before we even took off, and I was sitting in with the same experience. This is so simple, so easy, and very, really cool. The other thing I also did while I was in Maui, I actually did an entire live stream with this as my streaming experience, and I was running it on battery. We were going on for about an hour and a half, and it actually ate up about 40% or so of the battery on this, which makes this very functional again on the go. The cameras are really good, the sound is really nice. At some point I was also able to connect it to an external monitor, so if you want to expand the monitor experience, it works great. I wish we had Thunderbolt, but again, configuration with ARM situation here, it's going to be USB, and that's pretty much what we have in here. Slightly different than, again, with the Intel model that does have Thunderbolt. The keyboard is very nice, very functional. It again is a Surface, so you do need to be a little bit of aware if you're trying to use it on your lap. I used it outside and it was actually really nice. If you want to use it just in the tablet mode, just open it up, use it the way you want it. You want to be able to use it just by itself, take out the keyboard. You're ready to go, and it's there. I like the fact though that the keyboard does protect the display. I can connect my device directly into it and of course run LumaFusion. I can edit all my content, and I can even post directly to the internet from said device without even missing a beat. And I think this is the biggest thing about this device. It's not trying to replace your full-size laptop and all the functionalities. It's trying to fit in between there where you need access to something a little bit more powerful than a smartphone, but not necessarily something that is as powerful as a computer or let's say a full-fledged Intel PC. I think what Microsoft and Qualcomm are doing right now is they're providing us a better experience. This is definitely much, much better than what we saw with the Surface Pro X a couple of years ago when we first saw it released. This is unlocked. You can insert your own SIM and run it the way you want. Again, games, there are some games that will run there, but they're not going to run at a very high level. Emulation is going to be definitely one of the biggest things that we need to keep in mind. Right now, where we are is in a situation that Windows is fully functional. So you can technically, literally take this out, go do your work, come back, and then get everything done. If you're going as a student, this is going to work perfectly for you. Now, anything that runs inside of Chrome will run perfectly fine here, but there are going to be some limitations, I will say, that I did face some challenges where I did end up having to go back to my laptop. But going to CES and covering CES entirely with the Surface Pro 9 5G and my mobile device was a big win for me. I didn't have to carry bulky equipment. I didn't have to worry about my laptop being somewhere. I could carry this with me all day. It works really nice. You can charge it from almost anything with USB-C connectivity, which makes it very nice. And of course, it runs anything that's running directly on the Microsoft Store. Of course, you can watch content on it and do all of that stuff. There's obviously a lot of functionalities built in here. Expandable storage, unfortunately, is not there anymore, although you're able to replace the storage in there. And of course, one of the last things I really wished we still had was a headphone jack, because that's something that would have been nice. But I was using them with my Surface headphones as well, headphones too, and that was also very good. So the last 3 months for me have been a pleasure using this device, and I'm really sad because my time with it is actually finally up, and I do need to return it back to Microsoft. So I will say thank you very much for letting me check it out and of course share with you guys my experience. If you're looking for a laptop that fits your needs for the go, for meaning on the go connected, always on connected type of a PC, this is going to fit the bill. If you're looking to be productive, this is going to fit the bill. If you're trying to play games or become more basically like editing content and trying to produce things, we're a little bit a ways from there. Adobe is making more progress about bringing in compatibility to Windows on ARM, but we're not 100% there. DaVinci Resolve, although installed on the system, unfortunately does not start. And of course, there are some limitations. This is where I was exactly explaining there. I'm able to use LumaFusion directly off of my mobile phone with DeX. That made that little bridge of a connection for me so much more functional, because I'm able to use the keyboard and mouse on here. And even again, as I mentioned to you guys, I can add an external display via USB-C, and it became so much more functional. If that's what you're expecting, this is going to do the job very nice. 10 plus hours worth of battery life, easy to charge, everything works great. If you're looking to be more productive in the sense of editing video content and all of that good stuff, there are other PCs from Microsoft that will make sense. There are obviously even more options on the market that you can do that will definitely fit the bill. But this just made me very happy, and unfortunately I'm very sad to return it. So with that being said, thank you very much for the support. Like and subscribe as usual. Thank you very much to Microsoft, and I'll see you in the next one.